Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brett Okamoto from ESPN. We are here with UFC President Dana White to talk about fights. That is right. We're talking about actual fights going on this month in the UFC Octagon in Jacksonville, Florida. Everybody knows that UFC 249 kicks it off on May 9th. Tony Ferguson fighting Justin Gaethje for the interim lightweight championship. And things move on quickly from there. You guys are putting on an event, Dana, just a few days later on May 13th, same venue. Give us some information, man. Let's start with the prelims first. We'll get to the main card here in a second, but give me the prelims for that May 13th event.
Well, we're going Saturday, May 9th. We're going Wednesday, May 13th. And then we're going Saturday, May 16th. So Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday on ESPN. And on the Wednesday, the 13th, we have the main event before we go to the main card is Philippe Lins versus Andre Arlovski. The main event on that card will be Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira. And the co-main event for that card is Ben Rothwell versus Ovince St. Preux. OSP is coming back. Then on Saturday, May 16th, so it goes Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, the Saturday, May 16th card, Anthony Hernandez versus Kevin Holland is the fight right before we go into the main card. And then the main event on that card is Walt Harris versus Alistair Overeem. The co-main event for that fight is Claudia Gadelha versus Angela Hill.
Wow. Okay, so obviously some big fights there that you just announced that we got to get to. By the way, you were terrible at following directions. I told you to give me the prelims of the May 13th card, and you're just delivering everything.
I don't listen to what you tell me to do. I do what I want.
you're giving us everything. You're giving us things in June, by the way. What's happening in June and July while we're at it? So
listen, people haven't had sports in forever. You got to beat people over the head with this Saturday, May 9th. And then we go Wednesday, May 13th. Then we go Saturday, May 16th. Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday.
That is true.
Beating people over the head with how this is going to work.
That is true. I mean, we're all used to, most of us don't even know what day it is anymore. Now, all of a sudden, there's going to be 3 events in 8 days. True. So we want to get the full cards out. So May 13th, do you got the list in front of you? What is the full lineup of fights on that Wednesday, May 13th card?
The whole card? Sijara Eubanks is fighting Sarah Moras. You got Michael Johnson and Thiago Moises. Arlovski versus Lins. Carl Robertson versus Marvin Vettori. Ricky Simone versus Ray Borg. Alex Hernandez versus Drew Dober. Ben Rothwell versus OSP. And the main event, Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira. We also have Brian Kelleher versus Hunter Azur on that card too.
Yeah, and that main event, you mentioned it, Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira. This fight was originally supposed to be in Anthony Smith's home state of Nebraska. It feels like, I mean, he's coming off of a win against Alexander Gustafsson. I know Gustafsson is now retired, but anytime you beat Gustafsson, that's a serious win. He'd like to get back in title contention. What do you think a win over Glover Teixeira does for Anthony Smith right now?
He's coming off a win over him. He's coming off a win over the dude that broke into his house. He's had a very interesting time off, and he's taking on Glover Teixeira. Great fight, great main event, 2 tough, durable guys, and looking forward to that one.
That's true. He should be on a 2-fight win streak, not a 1-fight.
Exactly.
It sounded like he won that one at his residence. I like the Carl Roberson fight, man. This guy's 29 years old, Contender Series guy. He beat Ryan Spann on the Contender Series. You know, he's got 2 losses in the UFC, but one of those was to Glover Teixeira, and that was when he moved up on short notice and fought at 205 pounds. His original weight class is 185. So if I'm looking at a fight of the night kind of candidate, that's the one for me, is Roberson versus Marvin Vettori. How about Glover, man? I mean, he's a guy who's been around the sport for a long time. We know what he is. We know he's a tough guy, tough out. Do you still see him as title contention, or is he kind of in the twilight of his career? Can you talk a little bit?
Definitely in the twilight of his career. Very important fight for him. Much like the Andre Arlovski fight, fighting these young, tough guys. Very, very important fight for Glover Teixeira and Andre Arlovski. You know, guys like you say that are in the twilight of their career.
Okay, how about that May 16th card? Let's get the full list of fights. We already know Walt Harris and Alistair Overeem is headlining. You mentioned Claudia Gadelha and Angela Hill. That's a great fight. What else we got on that May 16th card?
Yeah, Chris Joko versus Eric Anders is on the card. Dan Ige versus Edson Barboza. That is a fun fight right there. Co-main event is Claudia Gadelha and Angela Hill, and the main event is Alistair Overeem and Walt Harris.
Dude, every time we do these interviews, I mean, I gotta admit, I'm marking out over the 145-pound weight class, and for Edson Barboza to go down from 155 to 145, I mean, him, Calvin Kattar, who's fighting on May 9th, Jeremy Stevens, you got Zabit Magomed-Shapirov, you got Brian Ortega still in the mix, Yair Rodriguez, Josh Emmett, and Dan Ige. Dan Ige, the guy who's fighting Edson Barboza. I love that division. How did you feel? Because I know that, sometimes guys want to cut weight and we're not sure exactly, if it's going to be the right decision for him. What was your reaction to Edson Barboza wanting to go to 145?
Yeah, so guys who don't want to cut weight right now, they feel like it's tough because they can't have, the typical type of camp they would have, with tons of people, real hardcore training camp because gyms aren't really open. I told those guys not to fight now. But if you feel like you can train properly and you can cut the weight, I prefer to have fights in your right weight class, meaning, not a catch weight fight.
Yeah. How about the main event? Well, I mean, obviously this is a sensitive subject. It's a tragic one that really, I felt, kind of impacted the entire MMA community. What were your conversations like with Walt going what he did last year and this decision to come back and not only fight, but be a main event?
Yeah, Walt and his family have been through a lot. And, I think this is a really good step in the right direction for him, to get back in there and sort of get his career back on track. Obviously super tough fight against Alistair Overeem and a very big fight for him at this point in his career.
Yep. And it's kind of similar. I asked you about Glover Teixeira. Alistair, as I forget, man, how this guy's getting up there in age because he shows up and he looks young and he's young. He kind of has that still full personality. But where do you see Alistair and what does it mean? What is a win over him? What would that mean for Walt Harris?
Yeah, Overeem is a dangerous guy. He's one of those one-punch guys in the heavyweight division that, the entire fight can change with one punch or kicks. I mean, his kicks to the body are nasty. But for Walt to overcome everything he's overcome in his personal life and then to get in and beat somebody like Alistair Overeem, it's a big deal. And for Alistair, he's at that point in his career where he needs a win over Walt too.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what is it like to be sitting here talking about, what is it, like 33 fights in the span of 8 days? I mean, over the month, you and I have had some conversations and some of them haven't been fun, that this whole coronavirus thing suspended something that I love to do, and it impacted this entire industry. Sit here today and be talking about 33 fights in the span of 8 days. I mean, how are you and your feeling over there?
I'm excited. I'm flying into Florida on Thursday, and for the fight on Saturday, it's going to be good to get back in there and see some fights, put on some fights for the fans.
What is the biggest thing you've missed about fights over this period of time?
I mean, you miss the normal things like fights every weekend. Obviously, miss that. Miss things like dinners. But I've spent some really good quality time with my kids, and I've done things that I didn't have the opportunity to do when the world was cranking. Done a lot of fun stuff and spent some really good quality time at home. So I'm ready to get back and put on some fights. But this downtime has been great for us too.
Yeah. Hey, I ask you, I spoke to Cowboy Cerrone earlier this week. I don't know this, but his plan is to drive his RV across the country, which is nothing new for him, and fight on May 9th. And he told me that after he wins his fight on May 9th against Showtime Pettis, first thing he's going to do is go to you and be like, hey, Dana, who do we got lined up for Wednesday, May 13th? Who do we got lined up for Saturday, May 16th? Would you let Cowboy Cerrone fight 3 times? He out health.
I listen. I love that the kid thinks like that, but it may, especially with what's going on right now, we're trying to be as safe as we possibly can. Having somebody fight 3 times in a span of 6 or 7 days absolutely positively does not make sense.
Cowboy would probably do it though if you let him. So
probably, but that's why we're here to protect these guys from themselves.
Yep. All right, a couple more questions, then I'll let you go. Just some names that I feel are interested because they've been active in the media and they've been saying that they want fights. Before this happened, you were originally wanted to go to San Diego on May 16th. And it was rumored that Dustin Poirier was going to fight on that card, and he keeps, posting pictures of him training. Do you have any expectation, or what would you like to see for Dustin Poirier next?
Yeah, I can't remember what the situation is with Poirier. The matchmakers were just telling me about it the other day. It's either that he can't be ready or we don't have an opponent for him right now. But, as soon as we can get him in there and he's ready to go, we'll get him a fight.
How about the former champion, Tyron Woodley? He's also been out there saying that he wants fights. He's raised his hand for certain dates. What's the latest with Tyron Woodley?
We're working on a fight with him right now. So after these 3 dates, we're coming right back. We're going to do like 4 fights in 14 days. So after May 9th, the UFC schedule is back on. We're back on and running. And we're looking at a fight for Woodley. Woodley will probably be the 4th fight. He'll be the main event.
On that May 23rd is what you're saying?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Last one I'll ask you about is the one that a lot of people have been looking forward to really all year, kind of anticipating it would happen in the summer. Give me the latest on Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. When are you, what do you have a time frame for that one?
I don't know. We're talking about a few different things. We have something else interesting for Masvidal too that we were just talking about yesterday. We'll see how this whole thing plays out, locations and how fast, to start speculating down the road right now is too soon. Let's get by these 3 fights in Florida and then, we'll figure out what's next. But yeah, we're talking about different possibilities with those guys.
Okay, last thing, most important thing I got for you. What did you think of the song that is taking the country by storm, Fight Island by Brett Okamoto? Did you see this?
I have not seen it yet.
You haven't seen my song, Fight Island?
I have not.
I wrote a pretty good acoustic song called Fight Island. I think you should check it out. I'm a little hurt that you haven't seen it already.
Yeah, I will check it out. I don't read anything, anywhere, or any of that stuff. I'm here focused on what we need to do, and that's it. But I will check out Fight Island.
Well, man, I mean, I understand that you don't read, but this thing took the country by storm so much. I would have thought it would have found you, but
I must have missed it. It was so viral, I missed it.
All right. Well, I'll expect your reaction on Instagram here in a couple hours after you get a chance to take a look at it. Appreciate the time, man. As always, looking forward to the fights. May 9th, May 13th, May 16th, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday coming up. It's coming up quick. A lot of good fights to look forward to.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.